Attorneys have begun to lay out their case in defense of Hunter Biden at his federal gun trial. Prosecutors wrapped up its case today with jurors hearing from a drug expert and an FBI chemist following dramatic testimony from some of the women in Hunter's life around the time he bought that weapon in question. CBS's Erica Brown reports from Wilmington, Delaware.
Hunter Biden's legal team began presenting his defense Friday, calling his eldest daughter, Naomi Biden, to the stand. The 30-year-old recounted visiting her father at a Los Angeles rehab facility in August of 2018, telling jurors he just seemed really great. She testified in October of that year she borrowed her father's truck to move and did not see any drugs inside. Hunter's daughter's testimony comes a day after his sister-in-law, Hallie Biden, a key witness for the prosecution, told the jury she discovered a revolver and ammunition, along with drug residue and drug paraphernalia, while searching Hunter's car on October 23, 2018. Hallie testified this is video of her throwing away the gun in a Delaware grocery store parking lot 11 days after he purchased it.
This is about as powerful physical evidence as you can get, linking his possession of that gun to his use of illegal drugs.
Prosecutors accused President Biden's son of lying on a federal application form about his drug use in order to buy that gun in 2018. Friday, the defense called the gun store owner and an employee to raise questions about the integrity of the form. They argued their client did not knowingly lie about his drug use, believing he was not an addict at the time.
Will you accept the jury's outcome, their verdict, no matter what it is?
Yes.
And have you ruled out a pardon for your son?
Yes.
In an interview with ABC News, President Biden indicated he would not pardon his son if he's convicted. Erica Brown, CBS News, Wilmington, Delaware.
The defense is expected to call more witnesses when the federal trial resumes on Monday.
Beautiful weather conditions here across the area. Look at all the sunshine at Buffalo Mountain. Only a few fair weather clouds in the region. Couldn't look for a better day. I mean, we are talking about very, very nice weather conditions with all of this sun. As you take a peek at what we have here in Hazard, just a few fair weather clouds. So many areas reporting such a comfortable afternoon with temperatures into the 70s, the humidity down, not much of a breeze. And tomorrow doesn't look like it'll be too different, other than I think the afternoon will see a little more cloud cover. Latest temperatures show most readings in the mid to upper 70s. We have a couple of 80s on the map, like Harlan, Middlesboro, and also around Somerset, while it's a touch cooler for those of you over in Wise, right now sitting at 70. Satellite pretty much confirms with what we've been seeing on the satellite, or I should say on the camera pictures, equaling just those fair weather clouds. Very nice. Dry weather, high pressure controlling the weather all across the region. That keeps the moisture chances slim. When that rain back to the west approaches, it'll be a little while before it does so Sunday. That's when we'll see our rain chances return. So temps fall out of the 70s this evening, down into the 60s, and then 50s tomorrow morning. There could be some patchy areas of fog. Steve will take a look at when that rain chance starts to arrive, coming up on Future View in a little bit.
Mace, thank you. Donald Trump is on the campaign trail for the first time since he was convicted on 34 counts in his so-called hush money trial. Trump's tour began in the battleground state of Arizona, as CBS's Caitlin Huey-Burns reports.
Donald Trump making his first official campaign stop as a convicted felon.
I just went through a rigged trial in New York.
In the battleground border state key to his chances of winning the presidency, Trump took aim at immigration.
Joe Biden wants an invasion. I want a deportation.
CBS News polling shows Trump leading President Biden here, with immigration among the top issues of concern for voters, like Marcia and Luis Salguero.
We're immigrants. They assume that because we're immigrants, we are for criminality and for open borders. No, we have families. We believe in America, in a safe border.
Just this week, state Republicans approved a November ballot measure that would allow local police to arrest undocumented migrants crossing the border, a measure aimed at driving voter turnout. Citrus farmer Selwyn Justice says he's worried about the consequences.
Somebody might just show up and come into your place of business and tell everybody they need to stop working and demonstrate documentation.
Trump lost Arizona by just over 10,000 votes 4 years ago, and it has been ground zero for false claims about the election. Just last month, Trump was named an unindicted co-conspirator in an election interference case where several of his allies were charged. And as for his own conviction, Trump suggested he had a right to retribution.
When this election is over, based on what they've done, I would have every right to go after them.
Caitlin Huey-Burns, CBS News, Phoenix.
The Biden campaign has also made some recent stops. While the president is overseas for events commemorating the 80th anniversary of D-Day, Vice President Kamala Harris has hit the campaign trail. Harris spoke at an event focused on gun violence in Maryland. The vice president says there is a middle ground for debates surrounding the Second Amendment.
It is a false choice to suggest that you're either in favor of the Second Amendment or you want to take everyone's guns away. I'm in favor of the Second Amendment, and we need an assault weapons ban.
Harris also says she again supports the Second Amendment, but also some changes that also include universal background checks and red flag laws. The National Academies of Sciences, Engineering, and Medicine estimate 6.8% of adults in the U.S. are still experiencing lingering symptoms of COVID-19. Health effects include chronic fatigue and brain fog, and in some people, the symptoms are so bad it impairs their ability to work or attend school. According to the report, being up to date with vaccinations reduces the likelihood of developing long COVID, but some groups are still more at risk than others.
Against long COVID, you may still see some people who get long COVID despite having been vaccinated. And women, not surprisingly, people with chronic underlying illnesses and people who had more severe cases of COVID are more likely to progress to long COVID.
Researchers say there's no one-size-fits-all way to treat long COVID, in part because it's associated with a wide range of new or worsening health conditions and encompasses more than 200 symptoms involving every organ system. Some economists say the U.S.'s unemployment rate could reach 4% for the first time in more than 2 years. Regardless of the data, some households are still struggling to stay afloat. John Loring reports.
The U.S.'s middle class is getting smaller, and the number of Americans falling toward poverty is on the rise.
Most people have seen their wages go up, their earnings go up over time, but they're not enough to compensate for the higher prices.
According to a recent report from the Pew Research Center, in 1971, 61% of the nation was middle class. As of 2023, that number dropped to 51%.
Just try not to eat out as much. I kind of realized pretty quickly that that's unsustainable, so just trying to make some more meals at home.
Pew researchers define middle class as having a total income at least 2/3 to twice as much as the median household. And analysts say things like the monthly bill at the grocery store.
I have seen it increase, definitely.
To sky-high interest rates and persistent inflation has more middle-class Americans keeping a tighter grip on their wallets.
People are now having to realize, and they always do, but I think even more so, they have to make choices. We're seeing that in the marketplace.
The report from Pew Research also says when adjusted for inflation, all classes had incomes that were higher in 2022 than in 1970. But the increases for those in the middle and lower brackets were much lower than the upper class. I'm John Lawrence reporting.